Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Caught on the Mic. I have with me a two-time guest. That doesn't happen very frequently, but of course it's going to happen with this one. This guy is one of my most favorite singers of all time, one of my most favorite frontmen. If you're in the St. Louis area, you could go have a delicious hot dog or a grilled cheese sandwich at one of his establishments, or maybe you can hear him sing some of the soulful sounds of Stevie Wonder. But most importantly, a lot of you, almost all of you, know him as the frontman of The Urge, the greatest live band of the 1990s, in my opinion. My friend, my friend Steve Ewing joining me on the podcast today. How are you, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I think you and I went through something very similar this past Sunday, and it was the high school graduation of our senior daughters.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
How are you feeling a few days removed from that? Because I know I'm still like trying to cope with it.
Yeah, just trying to put it all back together. It was a crazy weekend altogether. Madeline graduating, and we had a big tornado that touched down here in St. Louis, and then we had Point Fest on Saturday. So just piecing it all back together. But yeah, it was an awesome ceremony. Super proud of her graduating. So it's super nice. Yeah.
Where in the hell does time go?
Right.
I get on the Facebook memories and I look at like 5 years ago and 10 years ago, and I was like, shit, wasn't that just last week?
Right.
You know,
it goes like that.
Well, since you brought it up, Point Fest, how was that experience? I have seen some clips that people shot with their cell phones of Nick joining you up on stage for Jump Right In, which warms my heart because I just had Nick Hexum on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
So how was that experience, man?
So we've done Point Fest before. We've done a few of those, and this one was really cool because we were doing the show with 311 again, and we'd done it like 97 or 98 with 311, and it was great. Nick came out and sang Jump Right In with us. The single had just come out, so it was just perfect, and it was nice to have us back together again on this one. And he came out and sang the song again, so the crowd just went ape shit on it. It was awesome, man. It was a really good feeling. We get a lot of support from the city. We're one of a few places that still have a radio station, a commercial station that plays alternative music left in the country, really. So we're very lucky to have that. And we can still do these Point Fest shows, and we can still go out there and play in front of a ton of people. It's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And how's the restaurant business going? I swear every time I check your social media, man, you have got something else going on with Steve's Hot Dogs or Steve's Meltdown.
Yeah, we're definitely in growth mode. So we have right now, with all the concepts and we have 7 locations essentially. So yeah, so we're in that mode right now where we're expanding, we're growing. So that's why you're seeing a lot of activity.
Well, I tell you what, is there any plans on franchising out and moving a location up to your second home of Omaha, Nebraska?
Right. We keep getting that question. We keep getting asked that. So if there's a way to make that happen, possibly yes.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to one of my buddies on the drive home this afternoon. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with Steve. And he's like, dude, he goes, could you get him to drive up here and cater one of our inventories with his delicious hot dogs? And I go, maybe we just need to franchise and have a Steve's Hot Dogs in Omaha.
That's a good idea.
Man, once again, thank you so much for doing the podcast again. I always love following your journey, and I am very sincere in the fact that, and I got to say this to Nick too, but it's always great to tell your friends whenever, they've inspired a certain portion of your life. I spent a number of years singing in bands myself, and had I not been a huge fan of 311 and The Urge, I don't know if I would have been the type of front man that I was, engaging the crowd, kicking up that energy, and like creating that synergy between audience and band.
Well, I mean, it goes like that. I have my influences as well, and it's kind of the same thing. You grasp onto some bands that you really love, and you without even thinking about it, you end up doing some things that they do, and things rub off on you, and it comes with you, it stays with you, it becomes part of your identity, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
So, are there any plans for any new Urge music currently?
we have a lot of things in the oven. A couple singles we're trying to get out by the end of the year. The plan was to try to get something out by Point Fest, but it just didn't happen. We're pretty deep in rehearsals, and so we have two songs that are about done. So if we can get them out ready by the big Thanksgiving show we do here in St. Louis, that'd be
Yeah.
great. We're also rehearsing because this year is the 30th anniversary of Receiving a Gift of Flavor and the 25th anniversary of Too Much Stereo. And so we have a
Oh,
couple
wow.
shows we're doing in Lawrence, Kansas, the September 5th and 6th, where we're going to be playing songs from both of those records. So a lot of stuff we haven't played in 20 years.
Oh, that's amazing. I I wondered if Receiving was turning 30 this year as well.
Yeah, it is 30 years old.
Oh my gosh, because that's hilarious. In or coincidental in the fact that you guys are playing 89.7 The Rivers 30th anniversary show at Edge Park with 311, Sublime, Blue October, Sick Puppies, and Anchondo. The day before that show is 30th anniversary of 311's Blue album, and to have the 30th anniversary of Receiving the Gift of Flavor, man, 30 just seems like a good number this year.
A lot of anniversaries this year. So yeah, the radio station's 30 years old. Gosh, our record's 30 years old. 311's Blue record is 30 years old. Yeah, there's a lot of anniversaries this year, and even that show in Kansas we're doing, the venue is 30 years old. So it's just 30 is the magic number.
Dude, if you believe in numerology, it's time to cash in, right? Put it all on 30. Well, I tell you what, man. That kind of begs a good question, and it more kind of on the personal level, and that is when you consider the fact that Receiving is turning 30 years old. You're playing this 30th anniversary show for the River. Your daughter just graduated high school.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with nostalgia and looking back on these times in the past? How has that changed when you kind of consider all of these things?
What I've noticed is that we're very much a part of that whole nostalgia thing in a couple ways. One is our fans from back in the day are happy to see us out doing things. They're like, "Oh, this is great! Makes me feel young again," and like how it was back in the day. And then I'm seeing a lot of kids who are getting into it because it's kind of we're postmodern right now, so this is new to them. This is like you know what would have been cool to us is listening to 50s rock and roll, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
rediscovering that. So it's like it's a rediscovery thing for a lot of kids right now too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I totally grasp onto that fact. My daughter, who just graduated, is singing in a band herself,
Hmm.
and she is absolutely obsessed with every single band on that River show. And like when it got announced, she was like, "Shit, Dad, I gotta go!" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay, we'll make it happen. That will be part of your senior gift. I will take you to the Rivers anniversary show."
it's pretty cool to see that happen. I've been a part of it. Like I said, as a youngster, I started getting into some things that my parents were into. So it's cool to see it happen again.
Yeah, yeah. So, who were some of your influences when you were younger?
When I was younger, I was really into big bands. So I was into Earth, Wind, and Fire, um, and then Sly and the Family Stone, and then some, and James Brown, and some stuff that came after it
Hmm.
was Prince, who basically was a mixture of basically Earth, Wind, and Fire and Sly and the Family Stone. So I was into those guys coming up, and really started to get into like stuff that was coming out of England, like the ska stuff from the '80s. Of
Yeah.
course, like the post punk, stuff that was happening was all cool, like Duran Duran and U2 and the Police and all that stuff. I was really into. But yeah, it was a great time. That was a great time for music.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. whenever you consider how some of those influences shaped the Urge's sound, was there kind of a watermark moment for you where like you were like, this is the band that I kind of want to model my performance after?
There was a lot. There was a lot, especially early on when we started touring. That's when I started to kind of figure out what I was going to do, and it didn't. It wasn't like it just clicked.
Right.
It just was. Oh, this is what I do now. So after doing a couple of tours, but we toured with some bands like the Boss Tones and Murphy's Law, a punk band from New York, and we just saw a whole other level of intensity on stage, and just was like, man, I really like that. I really like how they get the crowd going. Like, love the interaction. Another big band that we've always been influenced by was Fishbone. It's a
Yes.
huge influence on us. Same thing, just I really like how they interact with the crowd, and that's something I want to do, and it was definitely it definitely kind of rubbed off on us. And as far as like what we do now is really a lot of times it's just what's on top of my head. It's like here we go, let's just do this thing. So yeah,
Yeah. So do you find that your music tastes kind of have a sense of seasonality to them where you're like, summertime, I'm into this shit.
big
Fall
time.
time, I'm into this. You know, how do your seasons run?
Oh, that's a good question. Usually during the cold months, I'm usually listening like stuff that's heavy. Although
Yeah.
there's not really a time when I'm not listening to like Deftones. I love the Deftones,
Right.
and I love Helmet. Um, those bands are really like special to me. So I'm always listening to some stuff like that when it's cool out. I love drum and bass, jungle. So right
Yeah.
now I'm listening to a ton of jungle, drum and bass. So yeah, it's definitely seasonal, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I find the same thing. Like usually whenever that temperature just drops some, we're
Yep,
Midwesterners, we know
yep,
that day where it's like 95 degrees on one day in September and then the next day it's 60 and you're like, "Oh man, it feels awesome again."
yep,
Like that's when I start putting on like Bill Evans trio like jazz, piano jazz albums and
yeah,
I totally take the shift. I'm like I go from aggressive to like really mellow really quick.
yeah,
But like you, I get angry in the wintertime and I have
yes,
to turn the
yes.
angry music
I don't know
up.
what it is, but yes,
I think that's just being Midwesterners,
I think you're right.
dude. That's amazing. So, for my audience that maybe hasn't watched a nerd show before, tell them what they're in for on July 12th.
So if you listen to Receiving a Gift of Flavor, it's essentially a live record. So like you're gonna see what you're hearing. Like you're gonna see six guys moving around a lot. I interact a lot with the crowd, so you guys are gonna be doing some singing as well as me. So I always
That's
make sure
right.
the crowd is working just as hard as I am. So yeah, you'll see us jumping around. You'll see us doing a lot of stuff, but I always like interacting with the crowd. That's my thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why the crowd has always adored the Urge. There was never a radio station music festival that you guys played on that I didn't walk out of and people were kind of chattering and saying, "Man, I got to choke those guys out again." Like, I don't want to use the term you guys have stolen the show every show you've played, but there have been many occasion where the Urge has stolen the show on every show that they've played.
Yeah, we go out with fire. Like us when we hit the stage, we go out there with fire. The idea is to really not just to win over crowds, but to make that connection. So like so we can come back and we can do it again. So yeah, that's a goal for us.
Yeah. So if you were to consider the Urge's career trajectory, and I would say, your biggest block of time would be like 96 until you guys called it quits the first time. What was that, like 2002,
That
2003-ish
was '02.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you kind of look at that block of time from 1996 to 2002, what were some of the biggest things that you never expected to happen, but happened?
Well, the whole thing with MTV was surreal. So this was at the height of MTV. Our first major record, which was Receiving a Gift of Flavor, came out in '95, made a video, and then by the time Jump Right In came out, Nick was in that video. We had regular rotation on MTV, which was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. That was surreal to me. Like I would like in my mind, in my career, it's like if we just can get on MTV, that'd be great. And then we went beyond that. So that was a great one. Just seeing your video up there with the little thing that tells your name and and all that kind of stuff. That was huge
Yeah.
for us. And one of the big shows that I really thought was a landmark for us was when we played Red Rocks, and we did that show with 311. So it was 311 The Urge, and then Michael Franti was on that show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of hypocrisy. So Michael Franti was like an idol of mine. So it was just a great day to be on stage
Yeah.
with Michael Franti and 311. That was awesome.
Yes, yes, yes. What is it about? Is it the fact that you guys are linked throughout the Midwest, or that stylistically you have similar elements? What is it about the brotherhood between the Urge and 311 that is a bond like none other? Because you guys, your careers have kind of been married together the whole time, and I think that's great.
They have been, and there's a lot of similarities. As our age, we're the same age.
Right.
So yeah, all of us are around 55, 54, 55. So we came up on the same music. We were, and we're Midwesterners.
Right.
So we kind of have an inherent chip on our shoulders, and we have a Midwest work ethic. So we work hard. So we have that in common. We have those things in common. So when you sit down and you hang out with them, like you find out. So it's yeah. When we immediately like connected with each other, the first time we played together was on a festival down in Atlanta, and we just got to talking to each other and made a great connection. And so let's go out on the road, and just found out that we really like each other a lot.
Yeah.
We have fun with
Yeah.
each other a lot. So and it helps us. We push each other when we're out on the road too. It's nice. So
Yeah.
when you see the two bands together, you're always going to see a great performance from both bands. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's the iron sharpens iron concept, really.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's kind of common amongst us gentlemen of the Midwest
Hmm.
is when we were in our younger years, we could walk into a room full of people we didn't know and leave with a room full of best friends by the end of the night.
No doubt.
And, and that's something that kind of goes away as we get older. And I think, and I'm just starting to discover getting into my era where I'm about to enter the 50s, and I'm like, it's starting to come back.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but it's starting to come back.
That's good though. You get out and see music. That's what it's all about, getting out and seeing live music. That is definitely a connector. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
old you are. If you go out, you're gonna make a connection, like out in that crowd. So it's without fail. So yeah, it's all about that, I think. And so
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be on the other end of it, where I'm out here providing that space for folks to get back together.
Yes, 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 yes. And to share it with our kids for God's sakes. I mean, like,
It's for real, man.
I don't know, man. There's just not too much that I think bonds us more than a common love of a great band.
Yep. It becomes part of your identity.
Yes.
It's like who you are. It's like, oh, I'm really into this band. Or, I mean, that becomes really part of your identity.
So you've never really stopped being involved with music, even though you've taken on all of these other entrepreneurial type assets with the
Hmm.
restaurants and stuff. But you have been able to kind of take a step backward and see how the industry has changed without being fully immersed into it. What are your thoughts and feelings with the way that music is distributed and released these days? Like, do you have feelings about that?
I don't know if I have feelings, um, but things change, things evolve, things have always evolved in
Hmm.
this industry. So I don't know. I think there's some good things about it. With streaming,
Hmm.
you have the opportunity for some kids to make some great music at home and get it out to folks and get their hustle on without having to have a ton of money to at least get started. So I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
We that's how we started independently, making records on with our own small label and getting the word out there by touring. So I think you really got the same opportunity. Just the medium is different,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. The one thing that I am always encouraged by, that I always go out of my way to point out, as musicians, we've always been diverse. We've
Yeah.
always been the guys that are like, yeah, I love this hip hop album. I love this punk rock album. I'm going to go check out this bluegrass album. Or I'm going to check out this jazz album. I'll check out anything, right?
Right.
But the common listening audience, especially when we were younger, was really segmented out based on what their genre was, and their genre was their identity. I'm a punk rock guy, I'm a metal guy, like, and I think the encouraging thing for me is, in again watching through my kids' eyes, is them creating these playlists on streaming
Yeah.
that are all over the fucking place.
I think you're right. I think that's, and it's not just that, but now with TikTok, they're being exposed to a lot of older music through that medium. Yeah,
Yeah.
their playlists are very varied. Not like you're saying, musicians or playlists. Our playlists are always going to be varied.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but now the kids don't just identify with one form of music or a couple or a scene. They're all over the place. This is because now the music is easier to get. You don't
Yes.
just have radio stations anymore. Like it's easier to get. You can
Yeah.
get your hands on it much faster, quicker.
Do you have a relationship with physical media where are you still, do you still hearken for the times of somebody being able to have that ritualistic um exercise of opening up a CD package or a record and it being like a gatefold cover and reading the liner notes and stuff?
I actually don't. So,
Really?
and I spent every dime I had on records and CDs and
Yeah.
cassettes. But I tell you what, and there's this joke, but I got tired of moving all of my medium from one form to the next. So it's
Yeah.
just now it's great. I get reminded of a song and I can easily like find it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if I'm at a bar or if I'm out someplace and I hear a song that I love, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that in years. I can
Right.
immediately go reconnect, and I like that. I love that. So I do sometimes feel like with streaming, like this is just too easy. This is too good.
Right. I know. Yeah.
But I do enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and part of the reason I ask is it would be really cool, and this is kind of an ask and a suggestion. It would be really cool to get 30th anniversary copies of Receiving the Gift of Flavor on vinyl,
You
or
are.
25th anniversary of Too Much Stereo on vinyl.
You are. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Yes.
Love hearing that. I
You're
love
definitely
hearing
gonna
that.
get it. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So outside of the Urge, any other big musical projects that you're working on? I know you were doing the Stevie Wonder tribute for a while. You were also doing the Steve Ewing band. Talk about both of those.
Yep. So the tribute was something that happened. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, we're gonna play some Stevie Wonder songs. You want to join in?" I'm like, "Man, I don't know. That's some tough music and it's super challenging." So we really just went into it, just working out some songs. Me, a guitar player, and a bass player.
Right. Right.
And I got a call from Big Amphitheater in the area, like, "Hey, we're putting together this tribute series. You guys got something?" And I'm like, "Well, I have a Stevie Wonder tribute," which I really didn't. But well, I got it. So then we had to go through the process of putting together a band and all that. It's
Right.
a 12-piece band. It's a lot.
Oh, wow.
And a good friend of mine, Dave Gorelli, is really great at being a band leader like that, a program music director. So I'm like, "Can you put this band together?" So he put a killer band together. So we do like a couple hours of Stevie Wonder, and it's a big party. We do it about 2 or 3 times a year with that band. And I have the Steve Ewing band, which plays a lot. We're doing a lot of shows every year. And then I have another band that I've just started singing with called Boomtown United. And
Okay.
they are a ska band out of St. Louis, more like a traditional ska band.
Oh,
And
like two-tone.
yep. So we do, and
Oh,
it's all original music. And I've always loved the band, and their singer left, and they asked me if I wanted to do some stuff with them. I said yeah, and so we do a handful of shows with that band. I have a blast. I love doing that.
oh, are there any recordings from that coming out?
We have a couple songs done, but we
Oh,
haven't
sweet.
gotten in the studio yet. So we just had a couple live shows with the band, with the plan to get in the studio sometime. We don't really have any plans exactly, but they have two previous records out that are great. And it's called
Oh, that's awesome.
Boomtown United. They're fantastic.
So are you doing any other legacy material, or are you just creating new material with them?
All new material. I'm
Awesome.
doing like there's a few new things, and then like some of the stuff on their previous records, like when we go out and play.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, if you haven't learned anything else from mine and Steve's conversation this time around, or maybe the first time he's been on the show, um, you have to see The Urge. The Urge is a can't miss set on 89.7 The Rivers 30th anniversary show on July 12th, 2025 at Rivers Edge Park. That is going to be a blast. How excited are you to commemorate the river and play with this lineup?
We're all like crazy excited about that. Like just getting back into Omaha and hanging out, and especially being able to do it with 311. That's their hometown. So that
Yes.
energy, we know how that energy is going to be. It's going to be just crazy, a reunion with an entire city. So yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah, we're all gonna be rehashing those old Ranch Bowl memories as much as we possibly can.
No doubt.
What do you have a crazy Ranch Bowl memory?
Every one of them was a crazy Ranch Bowl memory. Oh my gosh, we have played there since 89, 89
Mhm.
or 90, and we were, I think, probably the first time we played there was my most memorable because we were out with the Boss Tones,
Oh wow.
and man, the show was sold out, and man, we got in there, we walked into the place, like, wait a minute, where's the venue? This is a bowling alley. It's so, like, no, this is it. So we walked through another door, and there's like a whole club in there. Like, holy
Yeah.
cow, this place
Yeah.
isn't a bowling alley. And so that first memory is like my favorite. Just it's like, oh my god, we're playing a bowling alley, and the show was insane,
Mm-hmm.
insane. So and like they didn't even know who we were, but the energy was just so amazing when we hit the stage. The place went crazy. So that was uh that was the beginning of our love affair with the city. It's great.
I tell you what, man, and I gotta shout out some props here. My very first time seeing you guys was at a club in Des Moines right around 96, and it was you guys and Slipknot on a show together. And of course, our mutual friend Sophia was in Des Moines
I
back in
think
the
it was a
day.
safari club, probably.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, and that was insane. That was my very first Urge show.
That's crazy. That was before they had their masks and stuff.
Yeah,
That was back
it
in
was
the
like
day.
right when they were getting going, and oh man, it's just insane how far everybody's come, how much we've all grown up, Steve.
Yeah, right. That's crazy. So those Safari Club shows were awesome. Those were fun. Little punk
Yeah,
club, like right on the strip. That was a blast.
right by Drake University. Gosh, man, those were the days. Well, my friend, I always like asking this question as a closing question to everybody that's been my guest on the show, and I've probably asked it to you before. But Steve Ewing, what is your advice for making the world a better place tomorrow than what it is today?
Oh man, yeah. Get out there and help in your community. In other words, whatever you can possibly do. Like what we do here is we feed people. I give out food. So things like that are great. You know what I mean? It gives people hope, and it helps them get to the next day. So anything you can do like that is what you should be doing. No doubt.
Yes, yes, and those of you that don't know, and I know this episode is going to drop after it happens, but Steve and I are recording this episode on a Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. You are doing a benefit in regard to the tornado victims. Are you not in the St. Louis area?
That's correct. So, well, right now we're just feeding people. So, we're setting up kind of a food staging area outside of one of my shops, and we're feeding the community. There's a lot of people who are displaced that don't have access to food, water, just the basics. There's a lot of need right now, so we're just trying to plug in. There's a lot of other folks helping us out, so that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't listen to me about anything else, let me tell you, this guy is one hell of a follow on social media, because you can see every day that he lives out the values that he speaks of. I am very, very glad to call Steve Ewing a friend. I am glad to have had the urge in my life to some capacity. But moreover, man, the man sitting in front of me, Steve, thank you so much for doing the show. The world's a much better place with you in it, my friend.
Oh man, appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
All right, everybody, make sure you're following Steve Ewing at Steve Ewing on Instagram. Make sure you follow The Urge Rocks on Instagram. Follow Steve's Hot Dogs, Steve's Meltdown. Steve's got all of his social media linked on his page. He's always doing something.
Doing something.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I appreciate you doing the show today, man.
Right on, brother. Appreciate it.